Listen to me very carefully because what I'm about to tell you could change your financial life forever. I'm going to show you exactly how $30,000, that's it, just $30,000 is enough to break free from the paycheck trap that's keeping you poor. And before you tell me you don't have $30,000, stay with me because I'm going to show you how to get it and, more importantly, what to do with it once you have it. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do something for me. If you're serious about building wealth, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck like a financial slave, hit that subscribe button right now. Join this community. We're building an army of people who refuse to stay broke, and I need you in it. Do it now. Here's the reality that nobody wants to tell you. You're trapped. You wake up every morning, you go to work, you collect a paycheck, and then what happens? It disappears. Rent, car payment, groceries, subscriptions you forgot you even had. By the time the next paycheck comes, you're right back where you started. Zero. You're running on a hamster wheel, and the wheel is getting faster, but you're not getting anywhere. Sound familiar? Of course it does, because that's the trap. I've been investing for decades. I've built companies. I've made millions. I've lost millions, and I've made it all back again. And you know what I've learned? The difference between people who stay poor and people who get rich isn't luck. It's not some secret formula. It's understanding one simple truth. Your paycheck is not your ticket to wealth. Your paycheck is your ticket to survival. Wealth comes from what you do with the money after you survive. Most people think they need hundreds of thousands of dollars to start investing, to start building real wealth. That's garbage. That's an excuse. I'm telling you right now, $30,000 is enough. $30,000 deployed correctly, strategically, ruthlessly, can be the seed that grows into financial freedom. But here's the catch, and this is where most people fail. You cannot spend it. You cannot treat it like it's burning a hole in your pocket. You have to deploy it like a weapon. Let me tell you what happens when you don't have $30,000 working for you. You stay dependent. Dependent on your boss, dependent on your job, dependent on that paycheck. And the moment that paycheck stops, what happens? Panic, fear, desperation. You'll take any job, any offer because you have no choice. That's not power. That's slavery with a salary. But when you have $30,000 invested, generating income, creating opportunities, everything changes. You have options, you have leverage. You can walk away from a bad job because you know you have something working for you. That's freedom, that's power, and that's what I'm going to teach you how to build. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Kevin, I don't have $30,000. I'm living paycheck to paycheck right now. How am I supposed to save that kind of money? Good question. And here's my answer. You're going to have to make sacrifices, real sacrifices, not the fake ones where you skip your morning coffee and think you're being financially responsible. I'm talking about cutting out everything that doesn't move you toward this goal. You need to look at your life like a business because that's what it is. You are a business. And right now, your business is failing. You're spending more than you're making, or you're spending everything you make. Either way, you're broke. So you need to run your life like I run my companies. Cut the fat, eliminate waste, focus only on what generates revenue or saves money. That means no more eating out 5 times a week, no more new clothes when your closet is already full, no more subscriptions to services you barely use, no more financing a car you can't afford to impress people you don't even like. Every single dollar needs to be accounted for, and every single dollar needs to have a purpose. And that purpose is building your $30,000 war chest. Here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to open up your bank statement. Look at the last 3 months. Add up every single purchase that wasn't absolutely necessary for survival. Rent, food, basic utilities, that's survival. Everything else, and I mean everything, is optional. Add it up. I guarantee you're going to find hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars every month that you're throwing away on garbage. Now take that number and multiply it by 12. That's how much money you're wasting every year. For most people, that number is going to be shocking. It might be $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 a year. Money that could be working for you, building your future, but instead it's going to corporations that don't care about you. This is the hard truth. This is where most people fail because they don't want to hear it. They want me to tell them there's some magic trick, some hack, some shortcut. There isn't. Building wealth requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires you to stop living like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. And if you're not willing to do that, then stop wasting my time and go back to your hamster wheel. But if you are willing, if you're ready to make real changes, then keep watching, because in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly what to do with that $30,000 once you have it. I'm going to show you the investments, the strategies, the moves that will turn that money into a machine that works for you while you sleep. So you've done the work. You've cut the spending, you've made the sacrifices, and now you're sitting on $30,000. Congratulations, you're already ahead of 70% of Americans who have less than $1,000 in savings. But here's where it gets critical. What you do with this money in the next few months will determine whether you stay trapped or whether you break free. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, step by step, the same way I would deploy this capital if I were starting over today. First thing, and this is non-negotiable, you need to understand what this money represents. This is not vacation money. This is not a down payment on a car you don't need. This is not sitting in a checking account earning 0% interest while inflation eats it alive. This $30,000 is your employee. It works for you. It doesn't take vacations, it doesn't call in sick, and it doesn't complain, but only if you put it to work correctly. Here's my strategy, and I want you to follow this exactly. Take that $30,000 and split it into 3 buckets. $10,000 goes into your emergency fund. $10,000 goes into income-generating investments, and $10,000 goes into growth investments. 3 buckets, 3 purposes, and together they create a foundation that most people never build. Let's start with the emergency fund. I know this sounds boring. I know you want to hear about stocks and real estate and crypto, but listen to me. If you don't have an emergency fund, you don't have financial security. You have a house of cards. The moment something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, you're right back to zero. Your car breaks down, you lose your job, you have a medical bill, and suddenly you're broke again, scrambling, desperate. $10,000 in a high-yield savings account, and I mean high yield, not the garbage 0.01% your big bank is giving you, is your insurance policy against life. It sits there, liquid, accessible, ready for when you need it. And because it's there, you don't panic, you don't make stupid decisions, you don't go into debt. This is the foundation of everything else I'm about to teach you. Now, the second bucket, this is where it gets interesting. $10,000 into income-generating investments. This is money that pays you, dividends, interest, cash flow. This is your paycheck replacement system. And here's how I would do it. I would put this money into dividend-paying stocks, solid, boring, reliable companies that have been paying dividends for decades. I'm talking about companies like the big banks, the utilities, the consumer staples, companies that people need no matter what the economy's doing. These aren't the sexy stocks. These aren't the ones that are going to double overnight, but they're the ones that are going to send you a check every quarter, like clockwork. That $10,000 invested wisely could generate anywhere from $300 to $500 a year in dividends. That's money you didn't have to work for. That's money your money made for you. And here's the beautiful part. You take those dividends and you reinvest them. You don't spend them. Every dividend you receive buys more shares, which generate more dividends, which buy more shares. It's called compounding, and it's the 8th wonder of the world. Over time, that snowball gets bigger and bigger, and your income stream grows without you lifting a finger. The third bucket, $10,000 into growth investments. This is your long-term wealth builder. This is where you take calculated risks for higher returns. And the best way to do this, especially if you're just starting, is through low-cost index funds. I'm talking about funds that track the entire market, the S&P 500 total stock market funds. You're buying a piece of every major company in America. Why do I love this strategy? Because you're not trying to pick winners. You're not gambling on some hot stock tip from your cousin. You're betting on the entire American economy. And over the long term, the market goes up. It always has. There are dips, there are crashes, there are corrections. But if you stay invested, if you don't panic and sell at the bottom, you win. History proves it. That $10,000 growing at an average annual return of 8 to 10%, which is the historical average, doubles roughly every 7 to 9 years. You don't touch it, you don't panic sell, you just let it grow. In 20 years, that could be worth over $40,000. In 30 years, over $100,000. And that's without adding another penny. But you will add more because you're going to keep feeding this machine. Now, I need to address something because I know there are people watching this thinking, Kevin, what about real estate? What about about starting a business? Those are great questions, and here's my answer. Real estate and business ownership are absolutely paths to wealth, but they require more than $30,000 to do right. They require knowledge, they require time, they require risk tolerance. If you've got expertise in real estate, if you know how to find deals, manage properties, handle tenants, then absolutely use some of that money as a down payment on a rental property. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're not investing, you're gambling. And I don't gamble with my money, and neither should you. Same with starting a business. I've started businesses. I've invested in hundreds of them on Shark Tank, and I can tell you most businesses fail. If you've got a solid business idea, a clear path to profitability, and the skills to execute, then go for it. But if you're just tired of your job and think being your own boss sounds nice, you're going to lose that $30,000 faster than you can blink. The strategy I'm giving you, the 3-bucket approach, is designed for someone who's starting from scratch, who doesn't have special knowledge or skills, who just wants to build wealth steadily and safely. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it works. And that's all that matters. Here's what happens when you execute this plan correctly. Your emergency fund gives you peace of mind. Your income investments start paying you dividends, creating a passive income stream. Your growth investments start compounding, building long-term wealth. And together, these 3 buckets start to change your relationship with money. You're no longer living in fear. You're no longer dependent solely on your paycheck. You start to feel something you've probably never felt before. Control, power, options. And that feeling, that's what freedom tastes like. But it doesn't stop here. Once you've built this foundation, there's a next level. There are moves you can make to accelerate your wealth building, to multiply your money faster, to truly escape the paycheck trap forever. Now we're getting to the part that separates people who build comfortable lives from people who build real wealth. You've got your foundation, your 3 buckets are working for you, and you're starting to see results. Maybe you're getting your first dividend checks. Maybe your index funds are up 10 or 15%. You're feeling good. But here's the question. What do you do next? Because this is where most people plateau. They get comfortable, they stop pushing, and they never reach their full potential. I don't want that to be you. The secret to accelerating your wealth isn't complicated, but it requires you to do something that goes against every instinct you have. You need to increase your savings rate, not just a little bit, dramatically. Right now, if you're saving 10% of your income, you need to get that to 20%. If you're at 20, push for 30. I know people who save 50% of their income. 50%. And you know what? They retire in their 40s while everyone else is still grinding away. How do you do this? You attack it from both sides. You cut expenses even further, and you increase your income. Let's talk about cutting first. You've already eliminated the obvious waste, the subscriptions, the dining out, the impulse purchases. Now you need to go deeper. Look at your housing. Are you living in a place that's too expensive? I'm not saying live in a dump, but if your rent or mortgage is eating up 40% of your income, you've got a problem. Can you downsize? Can you get a roommate? Can you move to a less expensive area? Look at your car. Are you driving a $50,000 vehicle when a $15,000 one would get you to the same place? Your car is not an investment. It's a depreciating asset. It loses value the second you drive it off the lot. Stop treating it like a status symbol and start treating it like transportation. Sell the fancy car, buy something reliable and cheap, and invest the difference. These decisions hurt. I get it. You feel like you're going backward, like you're sacrificing your lifestyle. But here's what you're really doing. You're buying your freedom. Every dollar you save is a dollar that goes into your wealth building machine. And that machine is working 24 hours a day to get you out of the paycheck trap. So what's more important, impressing your neighbors with your car or retiring 10 years earlier than they will? You decide. Now let's talk about increasing your income, because this is where you can really accelerate. Your 9-to-5 job, that's your foundation. But it shouldn't be your only source of income. You need side hustles. You need multiple streams of revenue. And before you say you don't have time, let me stop you right there. You have time. You're just wasting it on television, social media, video games, all the garbage that's keeping you poor. Take 10 hours a week, just 10 hours, and use them to make money. Freelance work, consulting, driving for a ride-share service, selling products online. I don't care what it is as long as it's legal and it pays. That extra income, every single penny of it, goes straight into your investment buckets. You're not upgrading your lifestyle. You're upgrading your net worth. Here's a real example. Let's say you make an extra $500 a month from your side hustle. That's $6,000 a year. Invested at 8% annual return, in 10 years, that's over $90,000. In 20 years, almost $300,000 from just 10 hours a week of extra work. That's the power of combining increased income with disciplined investing. And as your skills improve, as you build your reputation, you can charge more. That $500 a month becomes $1,000, then $1,500. Suddenly you're making as much from your side work as you are from your day job. And when that happens, you've got options, real options. You can quit the job you hate. You can negotiate for better terms. You can take time off to pursue something you're passionate about because you're not dependent anymore. Let me tell you about the mindset shift that has to happen here. Most people think of their career as a ladder. You start at the bottom, you climb up, you hope to make more money as you go. That's fine, but it's slow. I think of wealth building as a portfolio of income streams. Your job is one stream. Your dividends are another. Your side hustle is another. Rental income, if you get into real estate, that's another. Each stream might be small, but together they create a river of cash flow that gives you security and freedom. And here's what happens when you keep doing this, when you keep saving aggressively, investing wisely, and building multiple income streams. You hit a tipping point. It's the moment when your investment income equals your living expenses. That's financial independence. That's when you've truly escaped the paycheck trap. You could stop working tomorrow and your investments would cover your bills. Not many people reach this point, but the ones who do, they got there by doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. Now, I want to address the doubters. I know some of you are sitting there thinking this sounds great in theory, but it won't work for me. I don't make enough money. I've got too much debt. I'm too old to start. Those are excuses. I've heard them all, and every single one of them is garbage. If you don't make enough money, make more, get a better job, get a second job, learn a new skill that pays better. If you've got debt, attack it with the same intensity I'm talking about for building wealth. Cut your expenses, increase your income, and throw every extra dollar at that debt until it's gone. If you think you're too old, you're wrong. Even if you're 50 years old, you've still got decades of life ahead of you. You can either spend those decades broke or you can spend them wealthy. Your choice. The reality is this. The system is designed to keep you poor. The credit card companies want you in debt. The car dealerships want you leasing. The advertisers want you consuming. Everyone wants a piece of your paycheck. And they're very good at getting it. But you can break free. You can say no to the system. You can choose to build wealth instead of building someone else's wealth. This isn't easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But it's simple. Save aggressively, invest wisely, increase your income, and be patient. Do this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and your life will be completely different. You'll look back at this moment, at this video, and you'll realize this was the turning point. This was when you decided to stop being a victim and start being a victor. So here's what I need you to do right now. First, smash that like button. Show me you're serious. Second, subscribe to this channel and become a member. I'm building a community of people who refuse to stay broke, and I want you in it. Third, leave a comment below. Tell me your biggest obstacle to saving $30,000. Tell me what's holding you back. I read these comments and I'll give you real advice. And finally, take action today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Open that savings account. Cancel that subscription. Start tracking your expenses. Do something, anything that moves you closer to your $30,000 goal. Because talk is cheap. Action is what builds wealth. You have everything you need to escape the paycheck trap. You've got the knowledge, you've got the strategy, and if you execute, you'll have the results. The only question is, are you going to do it? Are you going to make the sacrifices, put in the work, and build the life you deserve? Or are you going to keep making excuses and stay trapped forever? The choice is yours. Choose wisely.